What is the strangest mystery that is still unsolved? This dude got lost in the catacombs, and they found camera footage of his journey, but at some point he drops the camera and just starts to run. As far as I know, nobody has found out WTF happened to him. The lost a bomb off the coast of America, which the US government said not to worry about in the 50s and tried to cover up, was dumped in the ocean in an aviation accident and it's still lost to this day. 100x more powerful than what was dropped in Japan. The Miyazawa family. Just listened to the Casefile podcast on this and it has my mind blown. Someone entered the family home around 11:30 p.m., killed everyone, ate some ice cream, took a nap, pooped and didn't flush, changed clothes and left like 8 hours after the crime. 20 years on and we don't know who or why. An unsolved murder of an entire family in Japan which to this day remains unsolved despite DNA evidence indicating the ancestry of the killer. A sand sample left by the killer which was traced back to the California desert near Edwards AFB. And even sesame seeds in the killer's stool. Perhaps not the absolute strangest. But in March of 2020, the Windows market share for the long-discontinued Windows XP skyrocketed by about 10% in China. This spike in Windows XP use for just 1 month is for unknown reasons. Some people think the Chinese government could have been looking for security flaws in the operating system to take advantage of. After all, lots of sensitive government equipment still runs on Windows XP. The suicide of Lavina Johnson, a black female U.S. Army private who was found shot to death inside a burning tent with a broken nose, black eyes, broken teeth, raped and acid burns on her genitals in July 2005. U.S. Army ruled her death a suicide. 3 lighthouse workers with impeccable mustaches traveled to a remote island on December 7, 1900 for a lighthouse shift that should have lasted for 2 weeks. When a boat arrived to pick them up, they were gone. No trace of the bodies, and the lighthouse was strangely locked. Not only was the setting normal, meal ready to be served, but there was no fire in the fireplace. And the clock stopped. One of the men kept a log in a diary, and he said that the seas were rough one day, but when monitored, it was actually calm. No one knows what happened to them. Source 2 skip to 4:43. Edit. The mustaches have nothing to do with the story at all. I just really like them. I will forever post about my great-aunt when these come up. Where is Kimberly Langwell? She disappeared in 1999 in Beaumont, Texas. Her car was found in the parking lot of an Eckerd's drug store, but her purse and keys were missing. Her cell phone was inside. We all know she wouldn't have left her daughter, Tiffany, just like that. She loved her and loved life and those who surrounded her. Everyone who knew Kimberly loved her. She was the shining star on a dark night. If you have seen her alive, please call the police. I have posted her case below. Charlie Project. Org. Case Kimberly Ann Langwell. How a lower-class English woman became an important Egyptian scholar based on her memories from her supposed past life as an ancient Egyptian priestess. She actually described a garden in an ancient temple that was later discovered matching her description, and in the location she said it was. She knew things that hadn't been published before and had been worshipping ancient Egyptian gods from the age of 3. N.M. Wikipedia. Org. Wiki. Dorothy Eady. The whereabouts of the last Gestapo chief Heinrich Muller. The last verified sighting of him was in Berlin roughly 3 days before it fell. He had stated he knew full well what the Russians did to prisoners and he had no intentions of being captured. As chief of the Gestapo, he more than likely had access to foreign documents as well as ways to replicate them. Both the CIA and the KGB spent time looking for him, but no trace has ever been found. The Tam Shud case, also known as the mystery of the Somerton Man, is an unsolved case of an unidentified man found dead at 6:30 a.m. the 1st of December 1948, on the Somerton Park beach, just south of Adelaide, South Australia. The case is named after the Persian phrase tam shud, meaning ended or finished, which was printed on a scrap of paper found months later in the fob pocket of the man's trousers. The scrap had been torn from the final page of a copy of Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, authored by 12th century poet Omar Khayyam. Tam was misspelt as Tamn in many early reports, and this error has often been repeated, leading to confusion about the name in the media. This is my favorite weird and barely known one. Back in 2013, an unknown group assaulted a power substation in California. By all appearances it was pretty sophisticated. Scouted firing positions. All casings wiped of prints. They targeted transformers so they'd take time to overheat before triggering any alarms. Also knew exactly when the police would arrive. No suspect or motive to this day. They also cut some fiber optic cables in a vault nearby. Conspiracy types think it was a dry run by Russia or possibly China to see how effective an attack like that might be. Wikipedia. Org. Wiki. Metcalf sniper attack. The suicide of Ellen Greenberg. 27 stab wounds in different areas of the body. Edit. 20 stab wounds. 27 was her age at the time of death. Thanks for correcting you, CMART 4165. What happened to Brian Schaefer? This happened in my hometown. This med student went to a bar with friends and then fully disappeared off the face of the earth. Edit. The podcast True Crime Garage has an incredible series on this case. The hosts are both from Columbus and around Brian's age. They talk through the whole case in depth, and they also have a few guests that they talk with as well. Hundreds of hackers have tried to solve the Cicada 3301 mystery to no avail. N.M. Wikipedia. Org. Wiki. Cicada 3301. Here's a good doc discussing the mystery. U2. BI-207BLSPI. That guy who ran away from the airport hopped the fence and was never seen again. The guy's motive for shooting up all those people in Vegas. The U.S.S. Cyclops, a coal ship, disappeared with 306 men. The largest U.S. Navy loss of life that didn't involve combat. N.M. Wikipedia. Org. Wiki. USS Cyclops. AC-4. Asha Degree. Girl leaves her house in the middle of the night during a storm and disappeared. The only problem is that she was terrified of thunder and lightning and had no motive for leaving because her home life was fine. Then her clothes and backpack were found a year later in an abandoned construction site. Who was Perseus? From 1943 to 1946, the Soviet Union had a high-level spy in the Manhattan Project, codenamed Perseus. This spy was a scientist at the White Sands missile testing site in NM and the main research facilities in Los Alamos. Perseus saw pretty much the entire project start to finish, giving the Russians everything they needed to get to work on their own bomb. The fact that they were able to do so within 4 years of the end of World War II when their nations was still devastated is proof positive that Perseus helped a great deal. And to top it all off, Perseus was never caught or positively identified. The disappearance of the Beaumont children, the 26th of January 1966. Beaumont children disappearance. I've grown up hearing about this my whole life and I've been obsessed. It's horrible for those poor parents to never know. At the start of lots of chapters of the Quran there are mysterious groups of letters. No one knows what they mean, although there are lots of theories. N. Wikipedia. Org. Wiki. Mukata %CA%B fat. The 1987 Arkansas murders of Don Henry and Kevin Ives. The Hinterkaifeck murders. Super creepy, and the fact that there was evidence the murderers were in the house watching the family for a while before killing them just totally freaks me out. Edit. Thanks for the silver. First time award recipient here. And gold too. Happy almost cake day to me. Flight 19 of December 5, 1945. 5 bomber craft on a routine training run became lost while heading back and eventually disappeared entirely. Audio has them saying that they thought they had ended up over the Florida Keys, but wind could not have allowed that. Even more interesting is the fact the rescue craft dispatched to locate them also disappeared. Greek fire. An unknown group of people broke into an FBI building, and no one has found out who they are, but the best part of the story is, they did it by leaving a sticky note that said, "Do not lock the door tonight." And it worked. Edit. To everyone asking how they left the note, they just stuck the note to the front door. Probably should have specified. Edit 2. I'm an approved member of R. What's the rule now? Edit 3. I know it's been solved. I heard about it 8 years ago, and never learned that it was solved. The true author of My Immortal, a horrible fan fiction that has a cult following. The more you dive into it, the weirder and deeper the mystery gets. Interconnected webs, false flags, all kinda stuff. Which of the 3 astronauts aboard Apollo 10 was responsible for the floating turd? Albert Johnson, the Mad Trapper of Rat River. A pretty cool, mostly forgotten story about a man chased by the RCMP through the north. The identity of and what happened to D.B. Cooper. A man on a plane called himself D.B. Cooper and claimed to have a bomb in his suitcase. He took the flight crew hostage, and when he got the money he asked for, he had the flight crew start flying again. Eventually he jumped out of the plane with a couple of parachutes and the money. No one knows where he went or if he even survived. Ken Mcelroy's murder. This douchecanoe terrorized an entire town until the town decided that they had enough, and then somebody shot him in broad daylight in front of a bunch of witnesses. To be fair, he probably deserved it. But what makes it interesting is that everyone claims to have had their eyes closed or be tying their shoe at the time or something, so, oh boy. I wish I could help officer, but I didn't see anything. N. Wikipedia. Org. Wiki. Ken Mcelroy. Oh god. Here I go on another 2-hour binge of reading every comment in the thread. That one time when the PM of Australia went to the beach. The Lady of the Dunes. No one knows who she is. It's a pretty crazy story. Tammy Lynn Leppert is one that really bothers me. She was an actress for the movie Scarface and Up and left the shoot when she saw a murder scene. The story goes she went to a Hollywood party and saw something that made her think she was being followed and someone wanted to kill her. Her boyfriend apparently dropped her off and she was never seen again. Her mom died still looking for her. So sad. My heart breaks for her family. Malaysian Flight 370. The boat's void is a region of outer space that contains no galaxies or stars and we don't know why. The Tylenol murders from the 1980s where like 5 or 6 people from Chicago consumed Tylenol laced with cyanide and died. They had one suspect but he went nail for it but still went to prison because they tried to extort Johnson & Johnson, the company that makes Tylenol. Edit. Autocorrect sucks. Who killed JonBenet Ramsey? That one where there was a shooting at a gender reveal party only for it to turn out that the person throwing the party had faked the pregnancy. I just want to know why for so many things. The identity of Jack the Ripper. In 1994, close to 100 school children, 60 on record, described seeing a disc-shaped craft land behind their school during morning break time in Ruwa, Zimbabwe. Many of them interacted with beings that fit the gray alien description, with the children receiving what is described as some sort of telepathic communication. They all still stick to their stories today. Example 1, Example 2, Example 3. Here is the original footage of the interviews with the kids at the school. YouTube.com, watch, V equals ear M93GNMY4M. 30 minutes. We still have no definitive proof of who this Socrates guy is. On one hand, he's mentioned constantly by philosophers from his time, often used as an example character, and several works are attributed to his name. On the other hand, we have countless legal records and censuses that confirm the existence of Aristotle and Plato but none that link back to Socrates. He's either a very prolific philosopher, or an in-joke that classical philosophers would reference when they didn't know who to attribute quotes to. The Voynich manuscript. Nobody knows if it's legit or just an elaborate joke. Edit. You can look at it here. Archive. Org. Details. The Voynich manuscript, page N3, mode 2 up. Brian Schaefer. Went into a bar in Ohio in camera. Was never seen leaving and has been missing 14 years. It's unreal. I recommend True Crime Garage. Why people keep pouring money into a hole in the ground on Oak Island. If you ask me, greater than tilde less than. The Frog Boy murders. 5 South Korean boys went looking for salamander eggs in the forest one day. They disappeared. Their skeletons were found years later in a shallow grave on the mountain. Still unsolved. Maura Murray and the Springfield 3. Would love both of the missing persons cases to be solved in my lifetime. Also, a local guy went missing after a car accident in 2011. Would like answers on that as well. In 1977 we received a radio signal from outer space that lasted about 72 seconds. To this day, we still do not know where it originated from. Genghis Khan's grave location. The Max Headroom signal jacking in Chicago. This was a weird one and never solved. N.M. Wikipedia. Org. Wiki. Max Headroom signal hijacking. Nice try Netflix. You have to find interesting unsolved mysteries yourself. Death of Ray Rivera. Found dead in a meeting room in a hotel. Fell through the roof. The last call he received was from his office but the company placed all employees under a gag order so no one can talk to police. Where the frock are all the 10mm sockets going into hiding? Possibly an underground city just for them? Will the Delphi murders ever be solved? Who was the man on the bridge behind them? Edit. Oh my goodness. My first gold thingy, awards. Thanks. Edit 2. Here is a source you, Lowgreen does a good write-up over at r True Crime Discussion although I don't think it's been updated. Reddit. r True Crime Discussion, comments, 64GXK0, Delphi Murders write-up overview and theories. What and who exactly wrote the Voynich manuscript? As someone from Chicago who loves unresolved mysteries, I would say the Max Headroom broadcast signal intrusion, and I don't think we will ever find out who was behind it. It's been over 30 years and we still have no idea who was behind that incredibly bizarre hijack. There was a thread a while ago of someone that thought they had figured it out that seemed very possible. But it was updated and they were ruled out as suspects. Here is the infamous video for those that have never seen it. Epstein and the global billionaire political pedophile child sex trafficking ring. Did a Japanese death cult build a nuclear bomb in outback Australia? N. Wikipedia. Org. Wiki. Banjawarn Station. The Keddy Cabin murders. The Zodiac Killer. The Isdal Woman. The Lady of the Dunes. The Yuba County Five. Those are the ones I think of the most. Who killed Jeffrey Epstein? The Cancer Paradox. It's about creatures like elephants and blue whale and how they don't get cancer when they should be more prone to it. Edit. Holy thanks for 2K upvotes. The murder of Missy Bevers near Dallas has always bothered me. Someone walks through a church early in the morning in full tactical gear and stabs the woman to death. No leads 3 years later, even with surveillance video. Article. Edit. Article is over a year old, so 4 years later. Lost Girls of Panama. Project Cicada or something. Where did the dirt go after my dog dug a hole in the yard? This is a legit question. My dogs dig 2-foot deep holes. And no dirt pile or anything anywhere. What happened to D.B. Cooper? The actual date of the creation of the Great Sphinx of Egypt. It's likely thousands of years older than Egyptologists would have you believe. The Sodder Children FFS. The 2016 clown sightings. Why? Dark matter and dark energy. Edit. Either that or our idea of gravity is messed up. I love cold cases. There's something so creepy yet so fascinating about an unsolved murder, especially if it was a high-profile case or a case that happened a long time ago. My personal favorite cold case is the murder of Nicole Brown Simpson because it was both high-profile and happened over 20 years ago. Yet it remains unsolved to this day. It's my favorite cold case to research, and I hope to live to see the case solved and the murderer brought to justice. The Universal S. The one we drew in elementary school. It could be anywhere from decades old to thousands of years old. The Uss Eldridge, which was allegedly the ship that took part in the Philadelphia experiment. The U.S. government denied that the experiment ever took place, though the ship was sold to the Greek Navy sometime in the 50s, and served till the late 90s. My brother-in-law, who is in the Navy, told me that everyone that served on the Leon, the Greek name of the ship, said to him that there was definitely something wrong with it. Doors leading nowhere. Cables seemingly appearing out of nowhere, etc., etc. Some even insisted that they were hearing voices in the night. I've been finding slices of pizza in my mailbox for several months now. I don't know if that's the strangest, but I'd place it pretty high up on the list. The Max Headroom Incident. I just want to know why. What happened to the Marie Celeste ship? My dad got me a book about it as a kid and I've stayed fascinated by it ever since. It's a true Twilight Zone Bermuda Triangle mystery. The people just vanished as if they were about their daily ship life and disappeared. No signs of attack. Nothing stolen. Food still out and in the ship's hull. The ship was in decent condition. A bit messy but still seaworthy. Its lifeboat was gone but no one from the ship ever showed up. The disagreement between quantum and Newtonian physics. Newtonian physics does a great job at predicting everyday things like gravity, acceleration, and the movement of objects through space. Quantum physics is spot on when it comes to predicting really tiny things like light and magnetism, or really large things like black holes. But if you try to use quantum physics to calculate the speed of your car, your numbers will be way off. The two models we use to mathematically describe our universe only work at the scales they were intended for. To paraphrase Einstein, until the math can bridge quantum and Newtonian physics, we're looking at some spooky shit. One of my best friends went missing the day before my 23rd birthday. I'll be 39 on the 14th and still nothing. I wrote a blog post on her 10-year anniversary. And still can't believe we're still clueless on where she is. Also, it's so frustrating how the media will blast one missing person, and not others. Why is one person more newsworthy than someone else? Anyway, here's the blog post on how we met and how she disappeared. Not trying to get reads, just there if someone is curious. ITS Joy's World. Net, the 10th of July 2014, 10 years Jennifer Weilerson. Whatever happened to that missing Malaysian flight? It just took a couple of crazy turns and then completely disappeared from the radar. Edit. Thanks for all of the theories and resources, guys. I really enjoy listening to conspiracy theories, so each and every theory you guys send my way is greatly appreciated. You guys are the best.